Reagan, thank you. We have new developments in a story we've been covering since the pandemic. An audit report released just yesterday reveals serious failures at the Holyoke Veterans Home, formerly known as the Holyoke Soldiers Home.
It's the same facility where more than 70 residents died during the COVID-19 outbreak of 2020. Western Mass News reporter Madison Lasowski joining us live in studio after getting answers on their findings. Madison.
Chris and Amanda, State Auditor Diana DiZoglio is taking unprecedented action, filing a lawsuit to force the state to turn over documents the Holyoke Soldiers Home withheld from her investigation. The audit uncovered three major problems at the Holyoke facility. First, the facility could not ensure that nurses were doing regular wellness checks on veterans. Investigators say this failure likely led to more injuries and a significantly lower quality of care. Second, Holyoke violated state regulations by not conducting emergency drills for all shifts and failing to post emergency plans throughout the facility. Critical information like the locations of fire extinguishers and evacuation routes weren't even included. And third, the facility is operating with outdated technology. It still doesn't use electronic health records. That means doctors can't access patient information quickly, increasing the risk of medical errors and delayed treatment. Additionally, Auditor DiZoglio says that the facility withheld crucial documents from her investigation. She says that the governor unlawfully blocked their office's access to those records connected to the tragedy. Auditor DiZoglio says, quote, "This raises serious concerns and warrants strong legal action. Lives were lost and families were devastated. It's unacceptable to hide these records from auditors who have the legal authority to review them." Now, legal action is being taken. A lawsuit has been filed to force the governor to turn over those records for the continued investigation. Auditor DiZoglio says she's not stopping with this report. She's calling on the Attorney General to appoint an independent attorney, someone not connected to this administration or the previous one, to pursue the lawsuit. The goal? To get those withheld records and get answers for the families who lost loved ones at the Holyoke Soldiers Home. For now, reporting live in studio, Madison Lasowski, Western Mass News.